Oh God, watch out, watch out, watch out. Oh. So the space you're looking at right now, this is actually going to be the location for the new gazebo that we are building today with the family. I've got helpers. Hey guys, what's up? Serena here from thriftdiving.com. Today we're actually going to be building this gazebo right here in this location. It's 11 by 11. It's got mosquito netting and it's amazing. This video is being sponsored by Sunjoy, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to set this up. Crossing my fingers that it's going to be easy. You know, I'm still laughing at the fact that we were trying to flip this thing over and almost had a major catastrophe. You'll see that in just a moment. Thankfully, everything worked out. But let's talk about the actual setup of all the materials. It came in 2 boxes that were about just under 400 pounds. There's a lot of parts here, and so I definitely recommend get your tribe of people to help you and get everything set up possibly the day before so that you know what the instructions say, how many pieces are involved, and what pieces go with what. So even though it took us probably about a day and a half to put it together, the very first day I took everything into my she shed and laid everything out, grouped everything by number, by letter, so that when we were ready to get started the next day, everything was already grouped together and it was going to be an easy process. The next day I was ready to get started on this project. My husband and kids were dragging their feet, but I was ready to jump in. So I carried out the 6x6 posts. These are made out of cedar, so they're very lightweight for just one person to carry. And then I installed the base to the bottoms of the post. Here's the thing, you have to look at the instructions carefully because there's not really an indication of which one is up and which one is down. So you want to make sure that these bases are installed on the bottoms of the post and not the top. Ask me how I know. All right, I'm looking for 814. Oh, yeah, it actually even tells you that you have one extra. This company actually tells you how many pieces are in this bag and how many extra. How many times do you put something together and you're like, wait, what are these extra 2 pieces for? And you're like, oh, they just gave me extra. Thank you, Sunjoy, thank you. The next step was to take these locking nuts and then put them into these wooden pieces that were going to go up top. There was a short and there was a long, and I made the mistake of putting the short in there, and I was supposed to use the long. So I was able to pop those out easily, put in the long ones, and then get my son to help finish this off. You just have to make sure that it's flush so it's not sticking up, so you don't have to bang it too hard. He literally helped with just this step and then went back inside and played video games. Anyway, moving on, you'll see that I'm taking these shorter sides and I'm laying them down with this longer centerpiece. And the reason why that you've got to connect these pieces is because with shipping, you can't ship out these really long boards. It's easier to just overlap these, put the locking clip in, and then put the screws in and secure it. The only thing is you just want to make sure that the screws that you're putting in here, you're not over tightening them with the Allen wrench. Cedar can actually crack if you over tighten it. So when I put the screws in, I only finger tightened it and then came back with the included Allen wrench and tightened that up just a little bit, but not too much to where you would get wood cracking underneath of the pressure. So the next part is my husband came out to help me connect these together. This hardware is going to allow you to support both of these boards being screwed together. This is what's going to create the top part of the gazebo. It's going to give it the added strength that it needs, but you have to make sure that you're paying attention to where the markings are on the boards. This is very important. I'm looking, do you see these lines drawn here? You need those holes.
Is it?
Those lines were already put there and there's 2 holes. So you want to make sure that those lines and those 2 holes are not blocked by the hardware. You'll see in a moment we're going to install some hardware that goes over top of that. So we screwed together these boards, and when that was done, it was time to install the hardware where those lines and those holes were on top of those boards. So those pilot holes were already there, and we could easily attach this to the top, but you'll notice that there's 2 other holes there. We had to use the included drill bit and a drill in order to drill those pilot holes and then screw the last 2 screws into the top of this. Next, we took these doubled up boards and attached them to the 6x6 posts. But here's a couple things to keep in mind. We're ready to attach this piece to one of the top posts. And I got a little confused here because there's so many different holes, but you'll notice that there's 2 holes here and 2 holes here. So according to the instructions, This is the side that we want to connect to this piece. Here's a little tip. We found that it was helpful to use bricks or blocks underneath of the post so that when we're attaching those brackets to the corners, we could get a hand underneath to hold the bolt in place and then use a socket wrench to secure those bolts. And then I added the top pieces to the corner of the post, and you'll see in a moment how I'm going to attach those to the top frame. Now, this is the part where it became a little challenging because we didn't know whether we should try to assemble the rest of this wooden gazebo right side up or upside down. And my husband wanted to do upside down. I wanted to do right side up, and then we decided let's just do upside down. So we connected the side pieces. I did use a hammer to get those pieces in. They weren't lining up as easily as I would have liked, but with a little bit of tapping and securing that with a socket wrench, we were able to connect those side rails to those 6x6 posts. And once the other one was connected, then we had to figure out, okay, how are we going to turn this thing right side up?
And you are lifting it up.
Okay.
Grab the bottom. Grab the bottom.
Oh my God, dude.
Sink with me.
Dude, if I get hit this on my head.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Okay, now if it's up right here, you're gonna slide it back again.
Woo.
Okay, but it's good. Grab it from the bottom. We're gonna slide it back.
We're going to slide it back. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Come on. I don't want to go to the emergency room today.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Okay, first.
Oh God, watch out, watch out, watch out. Oh. I told you this is not the way to do it. What do you mean it wasn't in? I'm just saying, we should have stood it up and just, 1, 2, 3. Pick it up so it's not on the ground. Do you hear the angst in my voice? Oh my gosh, I was so afraid. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. We did have to do some leveling. So we added some dirt underneath of this front right leg. And I just marked it with some spray paint just so I knew where we needed to add the extra soil. So make sure that you have a level on hand. This is not going to be on any concrete or anything. I probably should have used sand, but we had some extra dirt in the yard and that worked perfect for getting this thing level. All right, I'm getting 156 1/4. 156 1/4. So ours was actually square, or at least I think it was square. But if you take your measurements from corner to corner with a tape measure and you find that it's not even, make some adjustments to the corners in order to get it even. The next step was to attach the last pieces of wood to the wooden frame of the gazebo. And my son here, my 16-year-old, was helping to attach those. And then we realized, oh shoot, we forgot to use the washers. So we did end up going back and putting the washers on here. But these were pretty easy to install. And once that was done, everybody was just pretty tired for the day. I wanted to keep going just because I felt like I can do this. We don't have that much more to do. The frame is done. Let's just move on to some of the pieces. These are the powder coated pieces that make up the top part of the gazebo. And so while they went inside, I just continued working. My husband felt bad for me, so he came out and said, okay, I'll help finish as much as you want. And at some point, I didn't even want to wait for anybody. I'm just like, I can stick this thing over top of the gazebo and I can do this. Thankfully, he did come out and help because some parts of this you can't really do by yourself. You do need that extra hand or two to help support while you're putting everything into place. Now, this is the Sunjoy Outdoor Patio 11 by 11 wooden frame backyard hard top gazebo. Now, you can actually get this with a soft top. I decided to go with a hard top just because I like the idea of something that's a little bit more permanent. I don't want to take it up, take it down. We're going to have this thing in place, but we have to build this out. And the frame of it is not really that difficult, but there's a lot of pieces that you have to put in place. And this is where you really want to have that socket wrench because you're going to be doing a lot of tightening, a lot of screwing. There are some parts where it might be helpful not to tighten everything at once because I did find that there was at least maybe 1 or 2 spaces where there was gaps. And then I had to go back and kind of loosen some other things up just to get those screws in there and to have them align. But for the most part, everything aligned pretty well and I didn't have too many problems with that. One thing I really like about this gazebo is that the top has these polycarbonate pieces that go along the top and allows some sunlight to come through, but it does block a lot of the UV and rays. So when you're in it, you don't feel like it's this dark dungeon. You actually have some sunlight coming in. So I definitely like that part. And of course, everything goes in with screws, lots of screws. And I want to point out that you're going to need a really sturdy, safe ladder to climb up on for this project when you're building your gazebo, because you'll see here I'm at the very top and I'm building out this entire frame. So it's helpful if you have someone there to help you to at least spot you, but make sure that your ladder is on even ground. And as I was finishing the framing of this, I realized the instruction manual doesn't actually tell me when to install the curtain rod. So I went ahead and installed it. At this point, it was pretty self-explanatory where it went, and I connected that with screws and it was no problem. Now, the last step of this roof was to install the durable metal panels. I love that this is a metal roof because, I don't know, there's something about being underneath of metal when it rains. I just love the sound of the tap, tap, tap. And so I can't wait until it rains. But plus, it's going to hold up through no matter rain, snow, sun, whatever. This is going to be a durable, very durable roof that's going to last for years. So after putting on the panels, the next step is to just put those, I call them end caps. I don't know what they are, but it's to cover up the seams. And those just go on with a couple of screws, and then that's it. So I'm kind of celebrating here, thinking, I'm done, finally. And then realize, oh wait, I forgot, I have to put the mosquito net up. This wasn't difficult to do. It comes with a bag of clips, and you just go around, sort of like a shower curtain, and you hang it up around the interior of the gazebo. The last step was to just anchor this to the ground. Now, because this is in grass, it does come with 4 anchors. You just lift up the little post that's hiding where the anchors go. Take your hammer, drive 2 of those into the anchors, into the ground, and then that's it. And it just covers it up. If you're putting this onto your patio, then you will have to go get something in order to anchor this to your concrete. You don't want to leave it without any anchor. So this is what it looked like before, and this is what it looked like after. I really love that we've added this additional space to our backyard. This was just the part of the yard where nobody really used, and now we've got this really high quality gazebo. We've got some lighting in there. These are some lights that are solar powered, so during the day you just sit them out in the sun. They recharge themselves, and right now my husband and I have just been using this as a way to kind of get away from the kids in the evening. During the day, during lunchtime, we'll meet out here and just kind of sit in the sun and relax. So if you've been looking to get more outdoor space and have a really cool gazebo, you can order one from Sunjoy. You can find the link down below. They sponsored this video. A big thanks to them for collaborating with me on this. And it's springtime, summer's coming. Don't you want to have a place where you can hang out and not be bitten by mosquitoes too? All right, I will see you next video. Leave a comment down below and let me know, is this something that you want for your backyard? I'll see you next video.